Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's MecSoft Corporation's CAM and Education webinar. My name is Don LaCourse, a Senior Application Engineer here with MecSoft Corporation. Also with us today is Joe Anand, our MecSoft Product Manager. We're glad you could join us. Initially, what we got going here, we want to go over some housekeeping tips here at the beginning to make sure everybody understands how to ask questions and get some feedback. So we are recording this webinar, and it'll be made available to all of the attendees after we process it probably this afternoon or tomorrow. Also, the last 10 minutes of the program are reserved for questions. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to enter them into your GoToWebinar chat window, and we're monitoring the questions in the background here, and we'll be sure to get those answered during the question and answer session. Let's get right into it. Our agenda today, we have two very special guests with us today. Kelsey Britton. Kelsey is Program Manager and Instructor at IYRS, which stands for the International Yacht Restoration School of Technology and Trades in Newport, Rhode Island. And we also have with us special guest Anthony Prima. Anthony is a teacher and technology instructor at Ostia High School in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. That's a mouthful. And we'll also be looking at the student projects that both of our guests will be discussing. We'll be looking at the RhinoCAM files, and we'll also be covering some RhinoCAM resources for educators. And also, as I mentioned, we'll be doing the question and answer session. And just a note here, I've just been informed that Anthony Prima is having some technical difficulties and may not be able to join in initially. I will be covering for him in the short term. If he gets connected, we'll certainly talk to him. Okay, first up, we have Kelsey Britton. Kelsey, as I mentioned, is the Program Manager and Instructor at the International Yacht Restoration School of Technology and Trades in Newport, Rhode Island. And before we go to Kelsey, I wanted to mention that little link at the bottom of her banner right there. We've sat down and talked with both of our guests in a written extensive case studies about their success using RhinoCAM, and that link at the bottom shows you where to go if you want to read the full case study on the MecSoft.com website. So Kelsey, are you with us? How you doing?
Oh, there we go. I was muted. Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, Kelsey, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about the program there at the International Yacht Restoration School of Technology and Trades.
All right, my name is Kelsey Britton, and like Don said, I am the program manager and one of the instructors here at IYRS for composite technology. Our school has 4 different programs. Most of them are marina industry based, but we are branching out into other industries. And Rhino is taught to 3 out of the 4 programs. RhinoCAM is used in 2 out of those 3 programs, mostly in my program specifically. All right, so this is, at our school, we do what we call a capstone project, and that takes all the information that they've learned throughout the semester and turns it into one final project. What we like to do is have them choose their project because they'll be more passionate about it, which means they apt to work harder and learn more. So Wyatt is a bicycle enthusiast, so he wanted to make a carbon fiber bicycle helmet. And that was pretty much that was the main goal, was to get a usable bicycle helmet from this project. So you can see in these pictures, what we used RhinoCAM for was to create this mold where he was able to lay up inside carbon fiber and then finally produce a helmet.
So let me ask you, what was his reaction to RhinoCAM while he was making this project?
The students are always blown away by what they can do with RhinoCAM. We start with RhinoCAD, and so they actually have to design everything on their own. Then they go into RhinoCAM and I work with them one-on-one. And the fact that they can take, like this mold in particular was a split mold. And so just that concept alone is amazing. But being able to have RhinoCAM to be able to put in parting lines and indexing points for them, simple things like that are huge for our students.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Tell us about this project. I think this one's pretty cool.
So this is actually one of my favorite projects. This was when I had first started taking over the RhinoCAM section of our course. This is a student's, we call it a suicide wheel for his steering wheel. And actually, we pushed this student to patent his idea because it was so unique. Cool. But this was actually a challenge, getting the correct radius in on a 3-axis machine, plus getting all these minute details because it was very thin. And then again, the part was made out of carbon fiber as well. So we primarily use RhinoCAM to make all of our plugs and molds once they get to a certain point. Yeah,
we're highlighting the intersection there between the spoke and the wheel and the filleting and how the parting lines had to work out there.
Yeah, a lot of detail went into that. So, and now you can see that's one of the finished molds. That was the first one that we did. We used MDF for the first one, and then for the second one, we actually used a tooling foam that we had donated to the school. So then to give a nicer finish, and then Simon was able to use carbon fiber to, it's again another 2-part mold. So he had to make 2 parts and then glue them together.
Yeah, that's pretty thin for a carbon fiber. How did that come out? I noticed the center spoke section there.
Oh yeah. So that center spoke section, it was incredibly thin. He had to do a couple renditions to make sure that he got the finish that he was looking for. And then ultimately it came out beautiful. The suicide knob part, which you can't see, which is where that circle is, right. That's made out of aluminum. And actually in the picture where Simon is, you can see them holding that part. When he glued it all together, it came together beautifully. So between the aluminum and the carbon, it was very, very light, cosmetically beautiful. Again, we have 4 programs here, and one of them is a boat building and restoration program. It's a program where you learn how to build a boat and then you learn how to restore a boat. And a lot of our students are fortunate enough to get jobs at the Mystic Seaport. This particular group had worked on the Mayflower too. We also have another restoration program project going on campus, which is the Coronet, which is another huge historical boat, the whole entire crew as of right now are all former IYRS students. And then from here, so the greatness of IYRS is that we have the classic build of wood, and we also go into composites and digital fabrication and all those things. So I have students that work anywhere from something like the Mayflower project to wind turbine build and repair to the American Magic, which is the New York Yacht Club's America's Cup challenging boat. So we're kind of, we're a little bit everywhere.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Kelsey, I wanted you to stick with us for a little bit. We may have some questions for some of our attendees might have some questions for you at the end of the program. Do you mind keeping with us?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. Now, our next guest, as I mentioned, was going to be Anthony Prima. Anthony has unfortunately not been able to check in with us yet today. So I'm going to be going over his program, and hopefully I can do half as good a job as I know he would have done. So bear with me here. Anthony is the teacher and technology instructor at Ostia High School. Ostia High School is located in Saskatoon in Saskatchewan province of Canada. We're going to go over their incredible program that Anthony and his team there have created at Ostia High School. The school there is what's called a First Nations and Métis Indigenous school, which means that they work very closely with the Indigenous peoples of that Saskatchewan area, the local tribes. So the school is coordinated as a coordinated effort between the tribe and the Catholic school program there in Saskatchewan, Canada. So a lot of the students are tribal members. They can be adults from the tribe, or they can be students of the tribe. The program about 2 years, and he interned with his predecessor, Mark Goebel, and together they created this program back in 2015. And I wanted to mention here that Mark Goebel, who Anthony interned with, Mark went on to receive the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence for this program. And unfortunately, Mark is no longer with the program, but Anthony has taken over and what's really cool about this is that this is a very well-funded school. I mean, they had unlimited funds, unlimited resources to choose the program and the software that they wanted to make this STEM program work. And what they chose was Rhino and RhinoCAM, and that says a lot right there. Initially, their idea, like I mentioned, was to set up a class that they could run in a lab format. So they have a RhinoCAM and they have a CNC machining center that they move out into the middle of the class, and everyone gets to watch the designs being cut on the CNC machine. All of the assembly, the finished work is all done right there in the lab. Here's a picture of the Laguna Tools IQ desktop CNC machine that Anthony has in his lab, and you can see it's cutting a guitar body, and we see one of the guitar bodies on the left here. And also wanted to mention that while they do all the cutting of the guitar body, they do all the finish work is done by hand with oils and primers. So they don't do any spraying, since this is a lab environment. So all of the finish work and all of the finish is done by hand. Here, this is pretty cool too. To present the Prime Minister's Award, they were visited by the Prime Minister directly, Justin Trudeau. And to commend that visit, they produced and presented to Justin Trudeau his own Ostia designed guitar, as you can see laying in the guitar base right there. And it looks like they're having a wonderful time. So now what we're going to do is we're going to show you the RhinoCAM projects that are associated with these actual student projects. We're going to show you the RhinoCAM files. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So this file right here is Simon's steering wheel composite mold. So we're just showing one half of the mold right here. And we're going to show you just a little bit of what the toolpaths were used to create this mold. So in setup one, we have one half of the mold. Let's just show the toolpaths real quick here. We have a facing toolpath to face down the top of the mold. We have our roughing operation, which clears out the steering wheel itself and also the spoke area. And we have one of our finishing operations to clear out the actual steering wheel itself. And also another finishing operation to clean up the area where it meets the steering wheel, and also these sections of the spoke area. And then we finish up with a pencil tracing operation. So let's show some cut material simulations real quick of these. We won't run the simulations, we'll just show you what they look like, and we'll just step through them. So we got our facing, we'll just turn the toolpaths off. And then we got our roughing, and we got our first finishing operation, and then our second finishing operation, and then our pencil tracing. Okay, let's go over to our next project from Jeffrey Wyatt, or Wyatt Jeffrey, excuse me. As you can see here is the bicycle helmet that Wyatt used initially to create these molds here, these layup molds. And we're just showing one half of the mold, so it's basically mirrored on both sides. So there's two mirrored halves of this mold. So we'll go through the toolpaths and then we'll show the material simulations like we did on the other project. So we start with the facing, and then we have our 4 locator pins, And then we have our roughing operation and also a horizontal finishing operation and a parallel finishing. So let's go ahead and show the cut material simulation of those real quick. So we start with our mold half. We go turn the tool paths off so you can see them better. Got our facing, our locator pins, our roughing operation, and then our finishing. Let the screen get updated here, there. And then our parallel finishing to clean up the bottom half of that mold. So that's basically the operations for Wyatt's project. And let's go over to Anthony's guitar project. And we're going to show you first the bottom half of the guitar mold. So this is a flip two-sided machining job. So they have locator pins and they machine one side and then flip it over and machine the other side. So let's take a look at the tool paths here. We got our registration pins. We have our cavities, the two-axis cavities. You don't see it because the part is actually covering up right now, and we'll show that in the simulation in a moment. And then our roughing over here for the belly area, and then our profiling operation for this half of the mold. And then for the finishing operations, they've got some between two curves machining operations here going around these fillets. And then also between two curves on this front area here, and then between two curves on this back area to do the finishing, and some parallel finishing on the belly section here. So let's go ahead and show that real quick in the simulation section. So we'll start off with our roughing operations. There's our registration pins. We'll turn the paths off so you can see that better. And there's our pocketing cavities and also our roughing areas for the belly section, and then our profiling for this half of the outer profile. And then our machining, we got our between two curves machining here. We got our second two curves machining up front here, and then our third at the back, and then our parallel finishing for the belly section. So let's go ahead and show you the other half and see how this gets finished up on the CNC machine. So after that half is done, it's taken off and flipped over and aligned with the alignment pins. And this half of the mold is picked up, started with the pocketing area for the cavities on this side and the profiling on the outside. And then also some more pocketing. And we're going to do some more pocketing, and we're going to do some more pocketing on the bridge, and we're going to do some roughing here on this arm cut out section here. And then for the finishing, similar to the back, we have the parallel finishing for the arm section and between two curve finishing for the outer profile. So let's show those cut material simulations real quick. So we got our pocketing, our profiling, we got the rest of our pocketing, and we have our cutout for the arm section for roughing. These are all roughing operations, considered roughing. The pocketing are actually finished pocketing operations as well. And we got our parallel finishing and our between two curves finishing. So this finishes, at this time, the guitar is still connected to the stock. If you recalled on the other bottom half, we had two tabs here that was not cut, so that keeps it connected with the stock itself. So let's go back to our presentation. Just one second. Okay, and now we're going to turn it over to Anita Anand, our VP of Sales, is going to talk to us about some RhinoCAM and EDU products and resources. Anita?
Yes, I'm here, Don. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Before that, if there are any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat window or the questions window, and we'll be more than happy to answer those for you. Thank you.
Okay, Anita, go ahead and let me know when you want to look at the website.
Sure. If you could move on to the next slide.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Now, the two success stories that you heard today is a great example of RhinoCAM in education. At MecSoft, we believe in providing CAM solutions that not only work efficiently, but are extremely intuitive and easy to use. And these are really the two main reasons we have seen an enormous success of RhinoCAM in the educational institutes. And this is not only in the US, it is across the globe. We therefore provide a variety of options for our educational institutions, and it depends on your class and the level of class that you are conducting. So the first of these options is the network floating license. Now this is a classroom or a lab license starting at a 5-user level. They can be incremented in multiples of 5 to accommodate your classroom size. RhinoCAM will run while your lab network, and the licenses can be floated over your client machines in your lab or your classroom. So this is a popular solutions with schools, since CAD/CAM is running mostly in specific departments like the architectural or the mechanical labs. Now for schools that are larger schools, we do offer a second option, a campus-wide solution. We call it our Campus CAM product. It is also a networked floating license, but this time around we provide an unlimited number of licenses for your school. This option is popular in institutes that use RhinoCAM in multiple departments. It is typically run on a school network. This means that a student or an educator who is authorized to access your school network gets access to RhinoCAM. So this offers the convenience of running RhinoCAM on or off campus. Students can tackle their assignments and educators can prepare for their classes from any location. All they need to do is access your school network and RhinoCAM will be available to run. Both these network solutions offer another option. We allow for purchase of a single user instructor key. Now this license is a node lock license and does not run on the school or the lab network. So the license can be easily transferred between computers. You can share one license between instructors by releasing a license from one computer and grabbing it on the other, or you can purchase multiple licenses, single user instructor keys for your school as well. Next slide, please, Don. Thank you. Now, we release new versions of RhinoCAM towards the end of the year, and therefore we offer what we call the annual maintenance subscription program. Now this program, it's very nominally priced for educational institutes. It offers technical support, which means you get priority email, phone, or live login help for your troubleshooting. Any files that your instructor uses can be shared with our technical support team, and we do help with the programming and the best way to run that part file. Now we also offer what we call our CAM Jam video tutorials. These are developed in-house. Many of the topics are based off of customer requests, so they are very real. They total about 15 hours of training material. They are really very nicely made video tutorials and very useful for students as well as the staff. Now we also run training webinars. And these webinars are run every last Wednesday of the month. They are detailed, hour-long sessions that offer training on a specific RhinoCAM functionality. They are recorded and can be accessed anytime through your customer portal. Now, all schools that are current on their subscription, the AMS plan, get free access to the latest released version of RhinoCAM. And as I mentioned, we do release new versions every last end of the year, most often in December, but they're always available. Now, in terms of resources, we do offer a lot of resources from our website. And you can go to our educational portal. You basically go to our industries tab on the main menu and click on the education option, which will take you to our education portal. Now here we have a whole bunch of resources here. Solutions, I spoke to you about the different network solutions we offer. Pricing for schools are extremely discounted. And yeah, if we could go to that page. We have lab licenses starting at $1,250, or the campus CAM at $3,000 or euros, wherever you're located. Now, we do have two solutions, the professional and the premium. The only difference being that premium is a higher configuration, which includes 5-axis continuous machining. Apart from this, we could also, you could look at our pricing from our e-store. That's a very easy, quick way to purchase our RhinoCAM educational product. And those are the different options you have. You can purchase a campus CAM solution, or you can purchase the network limited user solutions. You can also purchase a copy of Rhino from us if you like. The maintenance is also offered via our e-store. So this is a good way, this is a good page for you to purchase the product. We also offer the option of sending us a purchase order, and we definitely can process that immediately as well. Now, in terms of resources, if we can go back to our resources page.
Let's find that.
There you go. There are a lot of other places that you can get help from. If you could look at the last tab, which option resources, there's plenty of videos here. There's a really nice CO2 car that we machined a few years ago, and we have a little tutorial on that. Very nice for high schools and middle schools who are using our products as well. And we have a whole range of educational institutes. It starts from middle schools all the way to Ivy League colleges. And we do have a list of those, some of those colleges on our customers option there. Now, under resources, we do have a lot of video tutorials in our YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel, if you go to our YouTube channel and do a search on RhinoCAM, you would see a whole bunch of video tutorials that can be used by your students as well as by the teachers who are teaching the lab licenses. And these are recorded in-house again, so they're very valuable information. There are also video tutorials that our users have put out. So this is a really nice resource for our schools. Going back to our resources page, we have some case studies here, and these case studies are specific to schools and the different projects that have been conducted in each of the schools. And this is a nice place where you can get examples of what you can do for your classes in your schools. The gallery has a lot of pictures of students that have created different articles, all the way starting from vases to car designs to furniture, loot theory. We have a big variety of parts that have been machined by students and very proudly presented here to us. So this is something you can look at for your schools as well. Now, this is really a very short summary of our resources and what we offer for our educational institutes with RhinoCAM. At any point, feel free to contact us with specific questions, anything from help with a part file or help perhaps with the curriculum. You could talk to one of us, and we can certainly help you with any kind of resources that we can put together for your school. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anita. And next, we're going to go back to our question and answer section here, just a second. And I was looking at the questions, and we do, Kelsey, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm still here.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for sticking with us. Sorry for the technical problems.
No worries.
Okay, we had one question here.
How I fit it into the curriculum?
What do you have them do?
So, so we have a very short amount of time with our students in my course in particular. So they're only with me for 5 months. So at the end of the first month, I start teaching them RhinoCAD. And then that's about 2 to 3 weeks of intense, in-depth learning with RhinoCAD. And then I have them, believe it or not, I have them design, I call either a sign or a nameplate or something to that effect in Rhino. And that's the first introduction to RhinoCAM that they get. So it's that way they can take a basic design, we can work through all the kinks in the design because they design it on their own. And then I go with them to the computer and we sit down and then they can start seeing why paying attention to detail means so much when it comes over to the RhinoCAM section. And that's their first project. Then after that, it goes into their capstone project. And that's when they start using it to either make plugs or molds for their final project. But it all happens very, very fast.
What are you finding as far as feedback from the students about what's easiest for them to grasp and what seems to be the most difficult thing for them to grasp?
Once they start working through all the troubleshooting on the design end, they love RhinoCAM. They think it's actually pretty user-friendly. And speaking of those resources, I use those resources for my students all the time to have them look through. They're so incredibly helpful. But I find that just having them do it a little bit, they just seem to love it. So RhinoCAM has become so much more user-friendly over the last few years as I've been using it more and more. I think that the user-friendly aspects and all the helpful hints and everything has made it a lot easier for students. It's easier for me to teach them RhinoCAM than it is for me to teach them RhinoCAD, believe it or not.
Oh, that's interesting. Also, we had another question here about the Mayflower project. One attendee was wondering if you were able to sail on that, or does any of your students get to sail on it, or did they? I guess it's already sailed.
It's already sailed. So I think some of the boat building students and faculty were able to get out at least on it. I don't know if they got to sail on it or not. But unfortunately, the rest of us have not, no. But we did actually, so there's a sailboat over here, our yacht rather, called Aurora. And we actually, our first day of school was yesterday, so a lot of our students went out on that. So we get them out when we can. Okay,
that's great. If there's any other questions, go ahead and ask them now.
So Don, we have a question about whether RhinoCAM will run on Rhino 6.
Okay. You want to answer that, Joe?
Yeah, actually, yeah, RhinoCAM does run the RhinoCAM 2019 version. Runs on the Windows version of Rhino 6. RhinoCAM will not, it's only for Windows Rhino. Rhino does not work on the Mac version of Rhino, which was recently released. So at this point, we don't have any plans for releasing RhinoCAM on the Mac version. So it's only Windows based.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, I wanted to first off apologize for any technical problems we may have had during beginning portions of the webinar. And I wanted to, at this time, I usually, tell everyone how much we really appreciate our educators and what they're doing with RhinoCAM and with the students. And I actually wanted to tell you a quote from Kelsey. I told her ahead of time I was going to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do it since we have the time. I haven't read a better quote from an educator in my years here at MecSoft, and I couldn't have written it any better. And I'm just going to tell you, read it to you. The marine industry and shipbuilding specifically is more a lifestyle than a job. I love what I do, teaching others how to find that passion and help them move forward in life and hopefully continue to work in the machine industry. That's a wonderful quote, Kelsey. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate everything that you're doing to help your students get ahead in life and to get them ready for the next stages in their professional careers. Thank you. Okay, everyone, we're going to wrap it up for now, and we're going to record it and get the recording ready for you to download, and so you can watch the whole recording. If you may have missed some at the beginning, you'll be able to watch it in full. Thank you, everybody. Take care.